welcome to Very So Much 90 Day.
Yay!
We're back again. My name's Elijah. I'm a divorce attorney.
My name's Charlie. I'm her boyfriend. I'm also a student of public relations and strategic communications, which makes me particularly an expert in 90-day content.
That's right. We got really into 90 Day Fiancé over the pandemic because we didn't have anything else to do. And now we're obsessed and we can't stop talking about it. So we decided to make an entire video podcast about it.
How do we not get sick of it yet? I mean,
It's
years
shocking.
Years of it.
Literally years. An encyclopedic knowledge, nearly.
And yeah, I don't feel imprisoned by it. It's really, like, I still look forward to it. And
Yeah.
I still look forward to spending time with you and
Yeah.
watching it.
Yeah.
And brings me back to our very beginnings of our courtship.
That's right. During
gross.
lockdown days.
Yes, exactly. Lockdown days.
Yeah.
But we're here to share our opinions about the show. You might not agree with them. In fact, I've looked at some of the subreddits, and there are oftentimes opinions that we don't agree with. But we like talking about it because we think we're right. So feel free to comment below and let us know why we're not.
We're just here for shit talking.
That's right. We're here for shit talking, not dream crushing,
Not dream crushing.
but shit talking.
Yes, shit talking.
Yes, shit talking.
So we just had a new episode drop on Sunday, and we're gonna go couple by couple and discuss what the heck went down this week.
Perfect. Let's start with Libby and Andrei, a couple that we have, I think, begrudgingly become supporters of.
Less hateful towards.
Less
certainly.
hateful toward. Yes, absolutely. And I was ready, even in the last episode of our show here that you joined us for, I was ready to jump on the bandwagon to totally talk smack about Libby's song whenever that came out. She just posted, I think, today on Instagram Reels, possibly shot with her iPhone as an Instagram Reel.
Certainly shot
a
with her
cover of a
iPhone.
country song.
Let's just insert a brief clip here.
And looking at the subreddit and how people feel about it, it's been overwhelmingly negative reaction to it. However, I think that I would say you and I felt more endeared to her. And it's a little bit of a theme, at least for me in this show, where I feel endeared to people who seem cornered or when their dreams are actively trying to be crushed by somebody else. How do you feel about it?
I thought she sounded great. The reel was illegal. It should be illegal, the reel that she made. It was very bad. The song itself, though, excellent, frankly. I was surprised. It was not the direction I thought, and we'll get into why. But I think she sounded great, and I think her family sucks, and I think she can suck sometimes, but I think overall she's trying to make a family work and is getting support from no one.
Absolutely. And just starting out the episode, it starts out with Andrei's and Libby, I guess, throwing a housewarming party, inviting all of Andrei's friends, his immigration lawyer, which was sort of poked fun of by Libby's sisters.
They're always ready to shit talk anything and everything.
Always.
If it were me, I would feel kind of awkward inviting my immigration attorney to my housewarming party.
Where else are you going to make friends? Andrei is trying his best to invite people over that maybe he can build a relationship with. Is that so awful for
No.
somebody to do?
And as an attorney, I think it's normal to be invited over to your client's place in this type of setting where it's like various people in my circle in a more professional type capacity are all coming over to my new house to meet my wife. Like that's really normal, especially in a area like immigration where you are getting like pretty intimate with that. Sorry, that sounds inappropriate. You're getting intimate details about this person's life and you have to know a lot about them, and their life becomes a part of your life because you're working on an important piece of their life story. I'm not an immigration lawyer, but I'm a divorce attorney, and it very much is the case there too. So I thought it was normal. And her sisters were like, they're constantly just looking for something to poke at with her.
I mean, it was immediate. It was, hey, can you believe who's here? I don't even know anybody
It's
who's
so
here.
pathetic.
It's
He's
ridiculous.
only invited them because he wants something for them. But you know that if he wasn't actively trying to like make friends or be social, they'll be like, why isn't he trying to be more social? Like, why doesn't he invite people over? Why isn't he just like trying to make any friends at all?
It was.
You can't win.
Yeah, I mean, and if it's not that, it's going to be something else, which sort of transition us into the discussion about Charlie. I mean, that was Not something that I take lightly, for sure, and I think that it was a legitimate concern, and it seems to be the only thing that Andrei and Libby and the family agree on, right?
Except for the mom.
Except for the mom.
Mom's in denial.
Right. Under-therapied.
Under-therapied.
Arguably, yes.
The whole family.
Although it was a little bit weird that Andrei was arguing about how Charlie shows up drunk to every family function and starts a fight while slurring all of his words and
like
arguing
eyes
with
half
Mom.
open.
Yes.
Being like, Charlie's drunk all the time.
It was
was
aggressive and frustrating to watch. I don't support everything Andrei does.
No.
Just radiating toxic masculinity constantly, which we've addressed.
Yeah.
Libby's sort of into.
Libby's kind of into it. But then, those weren't the only toxic people at that party, because then they go into Libby's future studio, and there's some lady in there. I think she was with Gary. I think his name was Gary, friend of Chuck. She's in there, and they're like, what are you going to do with this room? And she's like, I want to turn it into a studio, and I want to try making music. And the woman was like, well, that's so wild. I'm a professional singer.
Or I was a professional singer.
I was a professional singer even. Past tense. I was a professional singer. Yeah. What does that mean? But then she immediately was like, why don't you sing something for us?
I really want to hear just a little bit. If you're a professional, like me, when someone asks you to sing, you just turn it on.
As someone who was also at one point, I wasn't professional. I was a competitive opera singer, though, in my youth. And I can say that without having to also add the detail that it was when I was like 17. So like that doesn't make me really qualified at all. And who knows if this lady was like a professional singer at like 20 and then stopped. Anyway, I would never ask another singer on the spot to sing something for me because I know that it's fucking weird when people do that. And it was a weird thing to do.
And there was just like one small like Casio keyboard in the corner where it's like, what am I supposed to sing? Like, and then she said, well, as a professional, I know that if anybody would ever ask me to sing on the spot because it's my craft, that I would do it because that's what we do as singers, which is not right because as a professional person who has a craft, you get paid to do that craft.
And you have been a professional musician.
I have been.
You've actually made money, sold records, fronted your own band as a musician.
It's true. I still occasionally do make money off of it. Not doing anything actively, but
royalties, baby.
You know, people pay me to do stuff. If I play a wedding, they pay me for it. If that's what my craft is. You don't ask a photographer to take free pictures for unless they're your
you're a
girlfriend.
photographer. Prove it. Take a picture right now.
Exactly.
That's
Tell
a weird
joke.
thing.
Write me a blog post for free.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah,
That
so
it was a
totally
weird
off base.
interaction.
And then she scoffed at Libby's wanting to sing nursery rhymes, or get into children's music, which again,
Dumb. Children's music is a huge industry. You can make a fuck ton of money on children's content. Here on YouTube, you can make you know how much money? The richest YouTuber here on YouTube is a child who does toy reviews. Kids love that shit, and you can make a lot of money on it because kids want to watch or listen to the same thing on repeat over and over again. So, and parents are willing to spend money to bring them to see a show of like the Wiggles or whatever because they know it's going to like make their whole life. And so there's a ton of money and success that can be found in children's music. And if this lady really was a professional singer, she would know that.
100%. And I think that clearly it's a dream that Libby's had for a really long time.
Yeah.
And to have somebody just come in there and belittle her just in this room at her own housewarming party, no less, with no real credentials to offer up that really mean anything. And I think Libby did a really good job at sort of letting it roll off of her back, clearly. I mean, she's releasing these highly acclaimed reel videos now.
The real video was bad, okay? The song itself, I was impressed with the production.
Right.
But yeah, we both, while we were watching, were talking about as creative people, it's really sad to see someone's dreams getting crushed like that, and not something that we would ever do, because it's really vulnerable to put yourself out there in a creative way. And we will shit talk anyone to the moon and back, but we will not crush dreams.
No, we do not do that. And if you are interested in crushing dreams, maybe at least focus on that Darcy and Stacy song, because that is horrible.
Yeah.
My people came to play. Superstar status, living so lavish. Yeah.
And I know that that's not Stacy's dream or Darcy's dream. They're not dreaming to be musicians.
No.
It's just another leg of their empire. Whereas Libby, I think, grew up thinking that she would do this.
Yeah.
So I think it's a different vibe, and the songs are way, way different. That song was bad.
It's bad. Give it a listen. Who's next?
Sumit and Jenny.
Oh boy, what drama we had this week.
Yes, I think I thought that maybe they were not going to stretch this conversation with his parents out over the next episode entirely, but I was wrong about that. So how did you feel about that?
Well, I mean, it was Jenny's reaction was confusing to me, I think, like the immediate rage. But it was hard because like they're in just such a hard spot, and I can see kind of where both of them are coming from. Like we talked a little bit last week about how Sumit's like kind of seems toxic, and yet we still keep liking him, but we're not really sure why. But at the same time, like he did just get disowned by his family for this marriage. But then Jenny was really mad because he wasn't translating for her. She didn't know what was going on, and he seemed much more concerned with how his mother was feeling than with how she was feeling. Which, again, he was just disowned. So, like, I don't know that that's fair, but I can also see how she's like, I don't know what's happening. People are yelling. Like, my husband's not paying attention to me, and, like, we're in this together, and if I don't have him, I don't have anyone, because she's alone in a foreign country, and, like, the only person she knows is, like, the one lady she met once when she went to see if she could become a Hare Krishna to be able to stay in the country and get a visa. That's her only friend. So I get where they're both coming from.
It's so complicated. I think there's things culturally happening that Jenny's not picking up on.
Yes.
Because I even think about the conversation, we were going to tackle this a little later in the conversation, but between Yara and Jovi, and Yara talking about how her mom is such an important part of her life, and in her country, you know, they wouldn't just ask to come over to help raise their children, they'd be there. Mm-hmm. And I think that their families are closer than in traditional sort of America. It's like we're able to cut people off, and we're not really, I don't think, quite as close in a lot of sectors of America as a family unit. And so Sumit losing his mom, I mean, just saying, I don't know how to exist without my mother. That's, I mean, it's a huge deal to be shunned from your entire family and not know if you're ever going to be able to come back from that. And I think you're right. Jenny also, she wasn't acting like super nuts. There's a lot of pressure. She's living in a totally different country, like you said, has no friends. Mm-hmm. I mean, it could have also just come out in a sort of an odd way, because it's just a lot of emotional pressure.
Yeah, I feel like it's the first time we've really seen like fury from Jenny, and I think it's been bottled up for a long time over this whole family marriage thing.
I think you're right. And the clock?
Why was there a clock on the bed?
No one knows. You know, I think it was good that they ultimately continued to rip the Band-Aid off. I think during the actual conversation, even though Sumit was very understandably concerned about how his parents were reacting to this, he stayed calm. Mm-hmm. He delivered the information. We got married. He maybe got a little bit heated, but he wasn't hysterical. No. I mean, he was really matter-of-fact in a way that I haven't seen Sumit be in like the last 2 years. I mean, he was at the beginning of this relationship, he avoided any conversations at all with his parents. Yeah. And now he's really, I think he's come a long way in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. It's a hard situation.
It's a really hard situation.
But then while we were watching that, you did say, I think they need to break up.
I did.
Why'd you say that?
I think because Jenny's miserable, and it's also so important for him to keep his parents close. So I think initially I said they should just break up, because I just don't think they're going to be able to make it work. Mm-hmm. But then I thought maybe they should just move to America, and then be on 90 Day Fiance, the regular show.
That's right.
Maybe Sumit could really get a great job in America, that they could build a life. He would feel a little bit less, I don't know. Yeah. I'm not sure. Something major needs to happen with this couple.
Yeah, they seem miserable as it is.
But everything else about their relationship seems to surprisingly work.
Yeah, they seem happy.
It's just,
generally.
you know, the catfish, The getting
yeah.
married when he was still dating Jenny
yeah.
thing, and then his parents not approving. So, little things that seem to be getting in the way.
Yikes.
Anyways, moving on.
Moving on.
Classic character of Big Ed and Liz.
Controversial.
Liz being 29, Ed 56, a young 56 in his words. What are your thoughts on Big Ed?
Okay, I know Big Ed is a controversial character. We, as we said last episode, started watching 90 Day because we kept seeing this necklace man on GIFs all over Instagram, and we were like, we need to get in on this. What else do we have going on? Let's watch 90 Day Fiancé. So Ed was our gateway drug into 90 Day Fiancé. And he has definitely done things over the course of his tenure on the show that were questionable at best. And at the tell-all, after him and Rose broke up, Rose seemed to be very distraught in a way that seemed as though things happened off camera that we didn't see. Like, she seemed a lot more upset than just the time when he told her that she should shave her legs and that her breath stank. Like, that was cruel and unnecessary, but the level of distraught she seemed at the tell-all seemed to me like things happened off camera that we didn't see, and that seems to be a theme that is repeating itself with him and Liz, because I feel like we're missing a chunk of the story. Like, the last tell-all that they were on, like, there was something happened. They talk about how they, like, tore each other apart. I don't know if that happened on social media or to each other's friends or just to each other. They keep breaking up and getting back together. Something toxic is happening. The common denominator is Big Ed in all of this.
Yes.
But Liz also strikes me as someone who could go to therapy maybe and potentially benefit from that. So I think it's, again, very complicated. What do you think about Liz as a character? How do you feel about her?
I totally agree. I think that there's probably a full season of drama that happened between that last tell-all and now that could have shown a lot. We didn't see... I mean, the fact that he's not talking to his sweet, sweet mother, it really says something.
Pony.
And I guess I would question what my relationship is if my entire family and all of my friends are telling me that it's not healthy.
Yeah.
That we broke up 8 times. I can't even imagine approaching you on the 8th time and being like, what do you think? Should we give it another go? It's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it will sort of unravel a little bit over this season, that we'll kind of learn some of those things. But yes, I'm actually a big supporter of Rose. I think she was so funny.
She was funny.
She was great. I really feel like, I know I don't really understand her, but I feel like she gave a wink to the camera in a way that I feel like she's a very, very smart person that knows what she's doing. Yeah. And I think she actually genuinely did care about Ed on a level. Mm-hmm. So when she said, I think there were inappropriate photos that Ed had maybe asked for, some things along the lines of that. I don't know fully what's going on there, but they were some questionable things for sure. Mm-hmm. Liz has a daughter. We haven't really seen anything as far as that relationship goes, which is fair. We, again, didn't see how them kicking Ed's mother out of Ed's house went. Yeah. We don't know how those conversations between Ed and Rich, his friend, went throughout all of their breakups. There's just a lot of content there that we just don't know about. Yeah. So it's hard to make a judgment call, I guess.
It is. But it does seem bad that on both sides, both of their friends and family are like, this is bad and you guys are bad for each other.
Right.
And it's toxic.
Well, hopefully they get married soon, because that seems like the only...
It'll probably get fixed. Probably get fixed if she got pregnant.
I think having a baby is the right thing to do. Yeah. We also don't know. I mean, Ed's daughter, still not in the picture.
She's mad.
She's mad
about this.
But in the picture.
I don't think so, because I think she's mad
Okay.
about this relationship.
Everyone's mad. And Ed's friend Rich talking to his mother every single day.
Weird.
It's weird.
It's weird.
And also just, I mean, if you're hoping to repair a relationship with Ed, which it sounds like he was kind of positioning himself when they met in that creepy park late at night, where he was like, oh, I can't believe that you're willing to throw our friendship away after 15 years, Ed.
Yeah.
but also like, but why are you calling my mom every day? It makes
weird.
me feel strange and
Yeah.
like a little bit.
You don't even call my mom every day.
I
My
don't.
mom loves you.
I mean, I try to call your mom every day, but she doesn't pick up all the time. So. Moving on, we've got Jovi, Yara, and Mama Gwen.
Mama Gwen, Mrs. Gwen.
Mrs. Gwen.
Oh boy.
Jovi continues to be one of the most toxic people, relaxed toxic, but toxic people that I've ever seen on the show. Just a constant walking red flag.
I've been at home playing dad, so I want a date, have some fun.
Of course you do. If Yara give you a chance, you'll go every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
You not agree?
I mean, they don't look the same way they did before you had a baby.
So they go to a vineyard with their child, and he's like, I'm ready to get fucked up on this wine.
Right.
And then they're talking about how she would like a breast augmentation. Mm-hmm. He, at least for the cameras, was slightly more gentle to her than I would have anticipated.
Yes.
I think you look great.
Still said some things that were like, I'd be mad, because he did acknowledge, like, yeah, they could be better. But I guess she was kind of also asking for that opinion from him.
Yeah.
So I don't really know, but he was less awful than anticipated, the breast augmentation. But then he also was skeptical about, like, is it just her friends influencing her? He was just kind of questioning her motives, which was like, just let her get boobs that she wants. If that's what she wants.
I'm not really understanding what it is that he was suspicious of exactly,
Yeah.
because he seemed also into the idea of her getting a boob job. So,
But then also skeptical.
yeah, but also like annoyed that her friends would have encouraged her to do that.
Yeah.
And then also, like you said, I mean, the nicest he could be on camera, well, the nicest Jovi can be apparently, but it was really just like, no, you're fine.
Yeah.
You look fine when you're naked.
Yeah.
I guess you're okay. I wouldn't worry about it,
Yeah.
you know? So it wasn't very exactly validating.
No.
But, yeah, I mean, if Jovi has anything to bring to the table, I assume it's money.
Right.
So,
At least buy her a boob job, for fuck's sake.
I mean, she's not getting any emotional support whatsoever, which we...
Vacant.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely foreshadowed for the rest of the season that it's going to be a problem getting Mrs. Gwen back in the picture.
Yeah.
Because Yara's lonely.
Yeah. She finally has friends, and Jovi's giving her fucking hell for it. And also she's alienated from his mom, who was the only other source of caregiving, because Lord knows he's not giving any care to this child other than like, what's up, baby? Where's my beer?
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready to go get fucked up. Let's take my daughter to this winery. I mean, it was a very weird thing.
It's weird.
They just both need to be able to give each other space to go out and hang out with their friends.
Yeah.
I mean, Jovi needs to have an opportunity to go get drunk sometimes. Yara needs to be able to go out, hang out with her friends, talk about boob jobs, complain about Jovi, get a little tipsy, and not worry about him texting her every half an hour going, when are you coming home? When are you coming home? Why are you always like this when I'm not there? You're being fun, Yara, and I'm not allowed to be there with you when you're being fun, Yara.
Because we have this annoying child.
Right.
Yeah.
So they just need to give each other the space to like be happy people. I think it's a very I don't know if I'm at the point of they should break up actively, but I think we're definitely rowing down that river.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in the point of like, they should have never gotten married.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
And I mean, Yara could do better.
She could absolutely do better. But at this point, what's she going to do? Because at the end of their segment, she was like, I don't know what's happening in the Ukraine. I wish my mom could be here, but I hope bad things don't happen.
Yeah. And that would be something I think both of us would like to see, is Yara's mom come.
Yeah.
Just come and stay with them.
but
What's
we don't
the
know
big deal?
what's happened at this point,
Right.
because this was filmed pre-war, coming to the Ukraine. So now it's like, I don't know. We don't know what's happening with her mom and her family.
100%.
But maybe she could get her mom here as like a refugee at this point. I don't know.
Will we see Yara on The Single Life Season 4?
Oh my God. The dream. That's what she
very
deserves.
possible. Who
Just
knows?
her and Natalie, two Ukrainian ladies out on the town.
Yeah, I mean, Natalie, we'll be getting into The Single Life when that starts.
Next week.
Next week. And I mean, there's been some murmurs about Natalie and Mike
true.
again, so I'm
That's
really interested seeing that getting untangled.
God, we'll get into that.
But anyways, moving on, we've got Usman and Kimberly.
Kimberly.
Usman, the international star, Soldier Boy.
That's
I
right.
think we got a little bit more of an insight into what his goals are potentially. It is something I'm always saying that I feel a little confused about, whether or not he's just into older women or he's got like sort of a mom thing, or what exactly it is, or if he was trying to just move to America to further his career. And you saw some of those clips about him talking about what his ultimate goals were, right?
Yeah, I mean, it seems as though, at least based on his conversation with his brother, who looks at least 30 years older than him, so I'm not really sure what's going on there because they have the same mom. So anyway, he, was talking a lot about this second wife thing for the procreation purposes, which Kimberly has also talked about and has said that like she'd be okay with it, but I'm not really sure that she's thought that through. Like, I'm supportive of polyamory, whatever you want to do, as long as everyone's consenting. But sometimes I don't know if she's thought through what that would actually look like, because she seems like a jealous person. And he, it would be like a woman significantly younger than her. And I think that she would struggle with that. Also, then he made the comment that was like, yeah, well, I'm going to go to America. And then also I'm going to get a second wife to procreate with. And I don't really know what his logic is there in terms of like order of operations, because if he's going to marry Kim and go to America for the 90-day visa, like he's going to have to stay in America to wait for his green card for a significant amount of time. He can't like go to Nigeria and get married there. Like if he were to apply for the 90-day visa saying like, I'm marrying this woman, and then wait for his green card based on that 90-day visa, and then go to Nigeria and legally wed another woman, I think that the American immigration authorities are not going to smile upon that development.
Yeah, seems a little sticky.
And you can't get married to more than one person in the United States. So I'm not sure where the logic lies, or if either of them have sufficiently thought through this entire concept.
Absolutely. And then just his conversation about always wanting to be the most famous person in the world.
Oh, yeah, that
he
too.
wanted to be an international star like Michael Jackson. Mm-hmm. And I think really, it's hard not to do that without being in America, I think.
Yeah.
Arguably.
Yeah.
But I think, at least the UK, you have some huge stars. But, America, Hollywood, that's kind of the place to become a international star, at least in a lot of these people's eyes who are trying to make that happen. So knowing that is his dream, and I don't want to crush that.
No.
It does make me think maybe he is taking advantage of older people who have not dated somebody in quite a long time, that are excited about the idea of dating a guy that looks pretty young, that's a musician, that dances and sings and has some notoriety.
Not to mention, Kimberly loves Michael Jackson.
Loves Michael Jackson. I completely forgot about
Remember that?
She's got the memorabilia.
Oh, yeah. Tattoo, right?
Tattoo.
It makes sense. It all makes
Yes.
sense. But maybe they're mutually benefiting on it. He gets to be Michael Jackson. She gets her Michael Jackson. I don't know.
Yeah, and she doesn't even seem opposed to the idea of sort of like managing him a little bit. She was certainly doing that in her first trip over the last season, where she was helping to dictate a music video shoot and screaming at people, and I think he sort of was into that.
Yeah, weirdly. Yeah. His friends weren't, or
Right.
managers, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It
Continues to unravel.
And I'm skeptical that they're fully thinking it through.
And last, but certainly not least, we've got Bilal,
Oof.
Shaeeda, Shahida,
Drama. Yes.
We have the big meeting to
The big
address
meeting.
yet again the prenup conversation, but from a different point of view this time.
All we had last episode was just Bilal and Shaeeda in the car. That was the whole buildup. So now we finally got to this meeting, and Shahida comes in, and Shahida's looking for an apology, and Shahida's like, I didn't do anything wrong, and Bilal's just kind of sitting there. And then at one point, as things start heating up and they start arguing, he starts, I don't know, praying? I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah, like something like get Satan out of you.
Yeah, I don't know what
sort
that
of
was. Maybe that might be a cultural thing that
Certainly,
I'm just ignorant
yeah.
about, but it came off a little weird from my maybe uncultured eyes. But Yeah, I think there's controversial views over who's right, Shahida or Shahida. How are you feeling about Shahida?
Sure. So I went to the subreddit because I was curious how other people felt about that conversation. And I would say it felt overwhelmingly like people were upset with Shahida for getting up and getting very heated at Shahida and Bilal and sort of being like, I'm going to reach across the table and fight you if you don't stop this, Bilal.
Yeah, there's some threats happening.
Right. Whereas I guess my opinion is that it was an inappropriate conversation to have had with Shahida in the kitchen. We spoke about this last episode where it's like, hey, are you here to take all the money away from my children? And
Right.
as if she's going to say, yeah, of course. Now you've busted me.
Right.
The fact that you asked me straight out, I have to be honest. This is what I want to do. I
Yeah.
want to take all of
What
all
was
of
the
his
point?
money. Right.
What was the point?
So it wasn't. I think it was a calmer conversation than I think warranted this follow-up conversation
Yeah.
that was so heated. I do think it was an inappropriate conversation. I think it's something that maybe Shahida should have had with Bilal
Yes.
as opposed to with
100%.
Shahida.
Yeah.
But I don't think that she was like really,
No.
I don't think she meant to be incredibly offensive. And I think Shahida really came in hot in that conversation this episode.
Yeah, like
in a
she
way
was
that
very
was not
upset.
really warranted.
Right. I
So-
agree. Yeah, and I think it was warranted to be upset that Shahida had brought that up at all, but yeah, to be like, I was insulted in my own home and you were
Right.
like getting aggressive.
Yeah,
I think,
rage was a
yeah,
word she used.
Yes,
I
I,
mean,
would not have used that word.
Not
no.
at all. She was really calm when she was talking about it.
Yeah. But at the same time, personally, I think Shahida feels much more ownership over their relationship than she should because she's an ex. And like her concern is the children, yes, but she's weirdly concerned with them. And at one point, Shahida said, you came into my home. And Shahida was like, oh, it's your home? Which, like,
Right.
yeah, it's her home. You're divorced. This is weird.
Truly. And I guess I don't know a lot about Bilal, but he doesn't strike me as the type of person that would just willy-nilly, like, not care about how his kids are set up if
Not at
something were
all.
to happen.
Oh my God.
I mean, we just spent a half of a season talking about a prenup.
Yeah.
Like, so
He's clearly got it under control.
there's just no trust happening there, and I
Yeah.
think that he does have it handled. So I think that we can agree that if Bilal's anything, it's well prepared.
Yeah.
And we dealt with 6 episodes, I would say, of talking about a prenup. And he cares about what's going to happen to his kids, and I think there just needs to be a little bit more faith happening from Shahida's side. Clearly, I mean, I just think that Shahida overreacted entirely and has been, like, ruminating about this conversation for some reason when I really think she would have been better off just sort of forgetting about it.
Yeah, 100%.
So
I do wonder if Bilal should be the one stepping in, though. I mean, I know he's like, you're both grown adults, you can handle this, but I could also see it being maybe constructive for him to come in and be like, I got this under control. Our relationship, Shahida, you and me, is for the children. Shahida and I have our own relationship. This is separate. Like, I got it.
yeah, maybe that is kind of what would solve it, is like Bilal behind the scenes figuring it out, and then they can come back together and sort of build a relationship from there, because clearly it's not working with all 3 of them talking about it at the same time.
Right. And like, Shahida and Shahida don't need to have a very close relationship. I mean, like, you probably would want to know the woman who's with your children half the time, but they don't need to be pals or anything. I mean, it certainly would make the co-parenting easier if they got along, but they don't have to be best friends.
Right. And I do struggle a little bit with, just men sort of stepping in into situations as well. So I kind of understand where Bilal was coming from, sort of taking a step back and sort of letting them talk it out. But clearly it sort of got out of hand.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that
At this point.
they could have figured out before.
Yeah.
Maybe it was for the cameras and this was for the best of TLC. Who knows?
Who knows?
I think that's a pretty good wrap for
Yeah.
this episode. We're really excited to see where this goes. I'm so excited to see where Ed and Liz's story goes, because there's so much to mine there. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I still love Ed content. I still love Colt and Debbie content. They're all problematic, but I can't get enough.
Gross. Yeah. And we'll get lots of Debbie in The Single Life,
Yes.
which starts in a week, and we will be also doing episodes about that show as well, so stay tuned.
And we definitely do have our own opinions about who should have been on the single life
Yes.
that maybe we'll be talking about then as well.
Agreed.
So thanks so much for sticking with us.
We'll be back next week after the next episode airs. See you then. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.